Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jonasz Rewiński. Poland is experiencing a period of unseasonable drought, with about 75% of the country's hydrometric stations showing below average water levels. From increased forest fire risk to reduced harvest forecasts, this year's lack of rain is expected to have a serious impact on the country's economy and environment, forcing us to ask the question, is this a lasting trend and how can it be addressed? Joining us now to discuss this is Sebastian Szklarek, Assistant Professor at the European Regional Centre for Ecohydrology of the Polish Academy of Sciences. Hello and welcome to TVP World. So how bad is the situation really? According to recent news, what we're looking at is something normally seen at the end of a very hot summer, yet we're barely in the middle of May.
Yeah, it's the big problem because, as you say, we usually focus this problem at the end of the summer, but now we start in the early spring. And it's problematic because it's the next dry spring that we observed in last years. So it's problematic for the agriculture and for all people that use surface water.
So now, there is an overall assumption that if the winter is cold and snowy, that might actually help. But according to some reports, again, this didn't really help this time. We had lots of snow, the snow melted away, and yet that didn't really improve the situation. Why is that so?
Yeah, but usually we should have much more snow in years before. This year we have some snow cover, but it's not so big and it's not that amount that we suspect when we look on the many-year average. So it's not enough. When we check on the rain and storm data, we have anomalies that showing the dry since December. So it's this snow only some camouflage that it look good, but it doesn't. This winter was also dry.
Are the current forecasts showing any signs of relief coming within the next couple of weeks? And when looking at long-term forecasts, of course, these are always imperfect. But can you see the situation changing in any way, or at least in a way that could address this problem to the extent that the losses might be mitigated?
It could be problematic because usually in Poland the rain is during summer period is like the heavy storms, so we don't suspect many days with rain, which could help improve situation, because this storm period is like you put all water from bath to the flower pot. You have the flood, and then plants still dry because it can't consume a lot of water in a short time.
So essentially what you're saying is that the water from a downpour will not be absorbed efficiently and instead is going to flow away into the nearest reservoir, like a lake or a river, again leading to the overall drought essentially continuing, right?
Yeah, it's the problem that we also observed it in the past years. So the deficiency that we have now is from the past years, and this winter don't help. And we suspect during this year the problem will be rising.
So we would need a long period of persistent rain, not necessarily large quantities at any one time, but instead, like let's say a slow refilling of that capacity, so to say, right? Do you think that this is the only thing that could address the issue now?
This one thing, but second thing is we should start thinking about improve our retain potential, because even there is rain, in problem there is no enough wide solution of stormwater, rainwater rotation. So it's the problem to now we have problem because there is no rain, but another problem is that when the rain start dropping, we don't have enough solution to stop this water and store it for the future.
So what we're talking is essentially building up more reservoirs so that the water can be reused instead of going to waste, right? So one thing is replenishing the reserves of water in places like forests. Obviously, these do not have artificial irrigation there, but also urban areas. Why are urban areas so exposed to this issue? And is it partly because of the trend of essentially removing green areas, building up more roads, building up car parks, plazas covered in concrete, places from which water simply flows away, right?
Yeah, the cities is the good example because they change the water cycle very extensive. Usually we have about half of the rain should stay on the place that it falls, in green area, in soil. But when we use concrete and on the unproved surface, almost all rain go out from this area, causing flood in some lower places, or when it's too much water to put it out by rain sewage. And after these big rains, we have problem with droughts after a few weeks.
So now another thing that was pointed out recently is that we do not really have enough marshlands, like, the natural areas where water would actually flow into, or, humidity would remain, stabilizing the ecosystems, providing shelter for certain species that depend on it. So are there any programs right now which are already being implemented to restore these marshlands?
Yes, there are some examples around the country. From few years, I observed that there is change of idea how to manage water, and this solution that you mentioned, they are very important because then they are cooling the area and closing the water cycle. Because it provides some small water cycles in the area around the marshes, around the forests, even around all green areas.
So let's talk briefly about the impact, because this is also what matters, right? Right now there are forecasts that harvest is going to be affected. There have also been cases of forest fires, not just in Poland, but there was one spectacular forest fire recently that's only now being extinguished to the full. So what would you say about, the ramifications of this drought? Even if it stops like tomorrow, it's still going to be felt across the economy, right?
Yeah, yes, the big problem is for farmers because they must face the lack of water at the beginning of the season, and it's the biggest problem in Poland year to year. Other sectors, it's not so much valuable for the drought.
But our drought also has an indirect impact. For example, there is the question of insect activity, and some people might think, okay, does it really matter? But even such things as honey, if you want honey to be produced by, domestic farmers, again, this is strictly linked to the green areas, the plants actually having a normal growth cycle. If there is drought, this again is going to be affected. The prices are going to go up, and the availability is going to go down.
Yes, the short answer could be, but yeah, there are even some calculation that drought indirect cost could double the cost of the drought loss for the farmers. So it's yeah.
And just one quick question, are there any other areas besides agriculture where this constant lack of rain is going to cause trouble in the short and medium term?
The second is the forest, as you said, this fires is the problem, but also when there is drought in forest, there are more variable for the insects, disease. So the production of wood could be also some losses.
Sebastian Szklarek was our guest today here on TDP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you.
And I'm Jonasz Rewiński. You're watching TDP World. Please stay with us for more latest news, updates and commentary.